Hi everyone, Ash Nightingale here from Nightingale Guitars. I've got a quick video for you today on how I do my laminated necks. So here I have my neck template that I've taken from my plans. The thickness of the neck, for example, the thickness of the headstock, this bit of extra material in the middle here to do some decorative carving where the neck meets the headstock, the heel, and also leave enough depth for your neck to body joint as well. And then there's extra material in all directions, really, just if in case one of your laminations doesn't quite line up, you've got some scope to take some more material off and get it just right. Then I have my piece of timber. I have a 25mm thick piece of mahogany. I have a 5mm thick piece of maple, and I have a 10mm thick piece of walnut. And what I'm going to do is trace my template onto each of these. In fact, the mahogany and the maple I'm going to trace twice. So I just trace on like this, and then I flip the template over and I trace on the other side. Then I do the same on the maple, trace that way, flip the template over, trace the other way, and then I only need to get the one template out of the walnut, so I just do that the once. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start tracing around this template. Now the end of your timber is going to be square, so if you make sure that this is square, then this is also square, so when you line your template up it's nice and easy, and also it comes in very handy later on. I'll show you that later, why it's really handy to have that square edge there when you come to gluing. Okay, that's one done. I'm going to go ahead and trace the rest. Okay, so I've finished tracing all the templates, and as you can see on the maple, I've got 2 templates traced on there, and I also have 2 templates traced on here and 1 on the walnut. And the next step is just to go and cut these out on the bandsaw roughly to the pencil line. The other thing to add about the timber is that it doesn't have to be quarter sawn, so you can buy a slab sawn piece of timber from the timber merchant and you use that just fine for laminated neck. So what happens is the grain ends up perpendicular in the end to the fretboard, which is actually a really good thing. It's nice and strong that way. So I'm going to go ahead and take these to the bandsaw and start cutting them out. I thought I'd show you another way to add detail to a laminated neck. So here's another neck that I'm working on. It's 2 pieces of mahogany on the outside and 2 pieces of maple in between, and I'm going to add a thin layer of walnut in between each of these layers. And the way I'm going to achieve that is with this 0.6mm walnut veneer. And what I like to do is take each of the individual pieces, apply glue to this surface, put it face down on the veneer, and the same for the next layer and the next one, and then just take an offcut of ply, put it over the top, and the same here, and then use a variety of weights to just weigh it down. And then you can gather any small heavy objects that you have around the workshop and just put that on top of here to add to the weight. And I find that this method allows you to have a lot less layers to worry about when you come to glue the whole neck up in the end. and then all you have to do is, when the glue dries, take everything off and just cut round the veneer for each piece, and then you're ready to go on gluing your whole neck together. Here's one of the sections of my neck, and it's glued onto the veneer now, as you can see. And then what I do next is I just cut it out with a Stanley blade, and you can use a rule or a straight edge to just help you. I start by just removing the main amount of excess. Here's the main amount of excess. That's one side, and then just use the Stanley blade to just cut around the rest of it as well. This doesn't have to be perfect at the moment because you have another opportunity to just make everything nice and flush. And there you have it. Walnut on one side, mahogany on the other. Okay, so I'm all ready to glue up the neck, and I have in front of me the neck itself and the jig that I use to keep everything square and all together and stop stuff from moving around too much when you're gluing it. And I've done a dry run already with all of my clamps, so all the clamp mouths are already set to the right distance, so they're nice and easy to just put on and tighten up straight away. And so I'm gonna go ahead and glue this thing up. Make sure the glue goes right to the edge, otherwise you're going to end up with areas that haven't actually been glued. This is the time consuming bit. Now another thing to add is that what I like to do is use baking parchment, and if you put baking parchment inside your jig here, then the glue will not stick to that, and so you don't end up gluing the neck to the jig itself. Always useful. Okay, make sure everything is properly pressed down, properly into the corner, and then get a clamp on just to hold it all together. Cool. It will try and move around. It will all try and move around when you're gluing up, but just keep adjusting it back to where it needs to be. applying a little bit more pressure at a time. Make sure nothing's lifting up, nothing's moving around too much up or down, side to side. So if it moves too far out, then you're not going to end up with enough material to actually finish the neck. So you have to be fairly careful. But you also have to do things fairly quickly, otherwise your glue goes off. Okay, when you've got all of them on, just go along and give all of them a good tighten to make sure they're all tight enough. Okay, you can never have enough clamps. Okay, so I've got 2 neck blanks done now. As you can see, come out really well, and they both look fairly attractive, I think. I think they look really nice. This one with the veneers that I was talking about before, and this one just with the thicker piece of walnut in the middle there. And so I left these in the jig overnight just to make sure they were nice and solidly glued, and then I took them out the next morning, and the things that I used after that was my plane, number 5.5 plane, to smooth off this surface and make sure this is nice and flat, and make sure it's square to one of the edges as well, because that helps you out. So flat face here, square to one of the edges, and then the angle of your headstock as well, just set on a bevel, and then you can just check that you've got the right angle on here and make this surface nice and flat as well. So using maybe a block plane to start with and the number 5.5 to finish it off and get a nice smooth surface. So I've done that with both of them, and these are now completed neck blanks ready to start carving the neck and stuff like this. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos coming up, and I'll see you all soon.